My thoughts on the M4 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro. After about 2 days of use, I got it in on Monday. I set it up, I added all the programs that I use, DaVinci, Photoshop, Lightroom, Handbrake. And then I started testing it and taking out the quirks of macOS, changing it to something I prefer. My first thoughts on playing with video. So I had a video for a client that I was working on with green screen footage and just all around 4K, filmed on the Sony a7S III. 4K 50 10-bit 422. I was working off this external drive and I started playing through it. First thing that happened was as soon as the first few shots with the green screen plus a green screen explosion plus a moving background, or no, a static background even, it did start chopping. So instead of going for a normal 25, it started playing at 14 frames per second. I sort of expected that to happen, but I was hoping it wouldn't. And further along in the video, there's also another green screen plus some added flash effect, and it also didn't play through that smoothly at full. So then I turned it to half and everything played perfectly smooth. That's a plus enough. So it gets to around 90% of what I was hoping it would do, which is fine. Alright, so here's the project in question. We are running it natively on the laptop, so all the files on the laptop. Battery in high power mode, so we're just on battery. Playback is at full. No proxies at 3840 by 2160. And this is how it runs in full. Quite a bit of lag. Another example. So we have green screen over here and then some effects layered on top in the clip. So not that smooth if you have just the green screen, nothing else. It runs fine. Show you the first clip again. Runs fine until, of course, and this is running normal again. So if we just put playback at half, this is how it's supposed to run. Smooth. And over here as well. So yeah, playback, half res fixes all of that. So I guess if I do more intense work, I'll just be working in half res. Comparative to my good old Razer over here, RTX 2060 base model. So this is 16 gigs of RAM, this is 64. For that project to run on this one, I would have to render proxies in low res and then play it at half speed or half resolution, and it still would not properly run through it. So it's quite an upgrade in that context. After that, I also tried running it natively off the laptop itself instead of the SSD, just to test if there was a difference. There wasn't, which is nice because that means I can keep working giant projects off the SSD instead of having to have everything on the laptop. Quirks with macOS, I did have to change a bunch of things to make it more the way I like it. Also, I got the pen tablet, my Wacom Bamboo. As you can see, it has a lot of use on it. I got that to work, so that's great, and it actually works way nicer than on the on the Razer because for some reason the software just works better on Mac. So thanks Wacom, I guess, after 5 years. Other than that, trackpad, I adjusted the speed and stuff because it was very slow. Same with the mouse. I got my MX Master mouse working on it. I still didn't get the side scroll to go the way I want in DaVinci, but I hope I might find a solution for that someday, and else I'll just have to get used to going reverse, I guess. Also Apple, nobody likes natural scrolling, so I switched that up. And the side buttons back and front are working on the web browser, Brave, which I use, but not on Finder. So I'm currently using Command up and down to get through the folder structure. Also, I created, or I turned on the folder trail, which is nice because for some reason Apple doesn't have that turned on by default. So there are just a bunch of quirks. Also for pen tablet users in Photoshop, there was this quirk at the start where when I use the lasso tool, if I touch and then move to a different point with the lasso, the polygonal lasso tool, for some reason it would have a small lag, small enough where you would think that, is this just a me problem or is it the software? Turns out it's the software. So in the Wacom tablet properties, there is an option that you can find, something with a double click speed. If you turn that off, it just fixes that, so everything runs nice and smoothly. So that all works. Right, here is another quirk with the Wacom tablet. It is on. It is also connected to Bluetooth, but it is not doing anything. For some reason, you still need to have Wacom on beforehand, and else you just need to restart your driver, and then there it is. So for the other settings, see, yeah, it was the double click distance. If you turn that off, this will solve any lag issues you have in Photoshop with, for example, the polygonal lasso tool. Another interesting quirk, for example, in Lightroom, I have sliders here. At first, it was standard that if I would want to put a decimal behind something, so let's say a 0.3, I could only do that with a comma instead of a point. If you want to change that, go to System Settings, and then we go to Language, wherever that is, over here. General Language Region, and then in the number format section, you just do the larger numbers with the commas and then the decimals with the points. So that's an option you can select over here instead of the standard, which is points for the large numbers, commas for the decimals. If you, like me, prefer the points, for example, putting it into Lightroom, switch that up, restart Lightroom, and then that will be in effect. And my sleeve came in. I got the walnut black, and seeing as we haven't seen much of the walnut black together with space black, I guess this would be a nice shot to have. So they pair up nicely. Here's another shot with the walnut black sleeve. Black on black. Figured it was a bit more stealthy than the cognac. So that goes in here. It's already loosened up a bit. Started off quite tight. And then this just goes into my backpack. We can still charge from this side if we want to. So that's nice. Overall, the best thing that I have experience-wise with this Mac is running off battery. It just does everything that I wanted to do whilst also being very efficient with the energy, so I can just use it on battery throughout most of the day doing a lot of editing. And I've only charged it once during 2 days of heavy use. So props to Apple. And currently it's, let me see, also the Touch ID is nice. It's at 54%, so I had it, when I had it on Monday, it started at 92. I installed everything, I started testing projects, doing editing, and yesterday around 1:30, it was around 24%. Put it on the charger, charged it back up to 100. Kind of wanted to take it out at 80 because that's supposed to be better for the battery, but I forgot because I was working. Took the Mac off the charger around, I don't know, 3 maybe, and then I started working from there the rest of the day until 5:30, and again in the evening for a few hours, and currently it sits at 53% battery, so that is probably the most significant advantage over any other system I've used. It's portable, it runs difficult stuff, not perfectly, but timeline playback resolution at half res fixes all of the slowness I would have at full res. Also, just normal running through 4K clips is no problem, but of course as soon as you add green screen effects, or I'm not even sure about just heavy grading. I think just heavy grading should be fine, but heavier effects like noise reduction or grain or stuff, that will be a problem at full resolution. Maybe not with raw files or the Apple ProRes, but so far just with my regular 4K files from the Sony in H.264, that those are, I guess, a bit more difficult to handle with a lot of green screen and whatnot. But half res fixes all of that, and I can still play it back even at double speed, so nothing too bad. All in all, I am happy with this purchase. It was 5.4K, so 5,400 euros, plus added Apple Care for 3 years, adds another 400 something bucks. And this walnut sleeve of about, I don't know, something around 100, I think it was. All in all, a lot of money. Quite the upgrade though from what I was working on. Now I can finally edit 4K videos without having to make proxies and then still having to render everything beforehand before I could have smooth playback. So a good upgrade for overall workflow, and yeah, I'm just happy with the purchase so far, I guess. Props. So this just came in the mail. My new M4 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro. Let's unbox this. Oh. Props to the UPS guys, because this arrived faster than the sleeve I also ordered for it. Now I need to wait for that to come in until I can take it to clients. All right. This is the 64 gig RAM, 16-inch, 2 terabyte SSD, space black option. Designed by Apple California, shipped all the way from China. Matching charging cable. And there it is. Greeted by the Apple logo. Alright, I'll go set this up